Hi everyone, this is Abom and welcome to my Squabble tips and tricks video. My basic strategy when playing Squabble is using the following four words every time I have to guess: candy, sower, plum, and fight. And the reason I use these four words is because they contain the 20 most common letters in the English language. On top of that, they have pretty good letter placement. And what I mean by that is it maximizes your chance of finding green letters. For instance, in 5-letter words, C tends to be at the first letter much more often than the second, third, fourth, or fifth position. And similarly, A tends to be in the second position, and Y tends to be in the fifth position. So a word like candy is actually really good for finding green letters if those letters are in the word to begin with. This isn't optimized for every word. For instance, S tends to be in the fifth position for 5-letter words. However, the first position is just okay, and these were the words I decided to use. So, I know you've been staring at the screen long enough to probably figure out that this word is pride, but the reason it's pride is because we have 3 yellows and 2 greens, which means that all the letters being used are on the screen, and all you have to do is unscramble it, and you have the added bonus that you know it starts with a P. So in just a second, you'll see me start off this game with PRIDE and heal myself and deal damage to a random opponent. So in general, my strategy is just to solve as many words as possible, and if I get stuck on a word, I'm just going to skip it. Here we have a special case where we have 2 yellows, which means that there are only 2 possible combinations, crust and cassert, and luckily enough, I was able to find crust pretty quickly and get a pretty good buffer of health going pretty early. Now we have our first special case. What happens when you have 3 yellows and 1 green, or just 4 letters in total? Well, that means 2 things could be happening. The first is that one of the letters, A, E, H, or Y, has been repeated in the word, and the second case is that Q, Z, X, V, J, or K, those white letters at the bottom of the screen, have not made their way into the word just yet. In general, I think that V and K are the most common words to elude you in this phase. However, you do have to make sure that you're not forgetting things like Q is pretty common if there is a U in the word, or that Z can appear something like twice in words like pizza or jazzy, and it might throw you off. In this case, the word was heavy, and I was able to find that pretty quickly. Back to my standard words here. And here I'm going to do a little bit of a strategy. The word wasn't coming to me right away, and so what I decided to do was enter the word milks, M-I-L-K-S, and that does 2 things. The first is it tries to find whether the word starts with an M or an L. Those were probably the consonants that it starts with, and K is just one of the letters at the bottom of the keyboard that lets me trim off some options. Unfortunately, I was not able to find the word limit. However, after spending enough time on this word, I just decided to throw it away, start again, heal myself up with some other words, and not let that weigh me down. And as you can see here, I find pitch pretty quickly, and I'm able to heal up the damage that I took from missing that word. And then hopefully with this new word, I can just completely forget about that damage that I took unnecessarily. Now, if you get stuck on a word, I think one of the most important things you can do is just start writing. A lot of words tend to start with consonants, so try to put those consonants at the beginning and then pair them with other consonants or pair them with vowels, depending on what your distribution is. It really is just a feel after some time to just make up words, but eventually you should be able to develop your own strategies to guess words. Here we have a tough situation where there's only 3 letters that I was given, and I knew that one of them was probably going to be from the white letters down below, so I put a V in there to try and spice things up. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find the word event. Now here we have the word Louis. I don't really know what that means, but I do know it is a person name, so don't shy away from proper nouns if they are being showed to you. Here I actually make a bit of a mistake. I was convinced the word was dingy. I don't know if that's how you spell dingy, but sure. Obviously, it's how you spell dingy because it's a word that showed up. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to find the word dying. However, in this situation, I was in a top 2 situation, so I was like, I have a little more health than my opponent, so I could just wait it out. And this person doesn't seem to be making much progress on his word. However, if I wait until I'm down to 10 health and he finally solves his word, then I'll die without having a chance. So I make the executive decision to just give up on this word and try to recoup the loss later on. And in a top 2 situation, it does make a lot of sense to do this because, yeah, sure, I'll lose 20 health for getting this word wrong. But if I heal myself on the next word and do damage to my opponent, the net gap in health is pretty substantial. So you're going to see that once I solve the guild word right here, I'm going to have a pretty sizable lead on my opponent. And again, just going into Candy, Sower, Plumb, and Fight. And I will say that there is a bit of a delay after entering a word, so just be careful not to mistype, because having as much time as possible is essential. And here we are at the final word. I'm pretty sure the word was gonad. Feel free to guess what you thought it was. But this was my tips and tricks video on how to win in Squabble. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you can take away those 4 words that I suggested. And if you have your own suggestions, I'm willing to hear them and see why or how they have worked out for you. Thank you for watching. Take care. See you next time.